Earlier on this morning, we spoke about the link between repetition and learning, and we're continuing that conversation right now with our regular creative parenting expert, Nikki Bush. This is a rather interesting subject here this morning because it just makes one realize, even as an adult, how important repetition is and to do things over and over up until you get it right, and even more so for our youngsters. So I think when they go to school, they're going to start getting homework. So how is homework linked to the theory of practice and repetition?
So we hate homework as parents. I know we hate it, but it provides children with the opportunity to do repetition, to practice what they learnt in class, to do the 10 examples that the teacher has given them for homework, to make sure they actually do understand what they've been taught, and to practice it.
I never understood that at school. Why are you giving me the same example over and over to do?
I know, but that's actually what it's about, in a nutshell.
Okay, so do you think when it comes to that homework, maybe parents put a little bit too much pressure on the kids to excel too soon, or should we be patient with that repetition? Because children develop and form those pathways at different speeds, I'm sure.
Well, if you're talking about homework, we need to be supportive of homework. Yeah. If it's a homework overload, and sometimes teachers are not communicating and connecting, and they all give homework on the same day at the same time, and project dates the same time, then you've got to go in and talk about that.
Okay.
But are we pushing our children to excel too soon? The second half of your question. We are seeing an epidemic of parents who are wanting their children to get straight A's straight away, to make the first team or the A cricket team from literally the first term. And we're not giving children the luxury of practice, the luxury of being average for a while they're grappling with how to do something.
Okay.
And you know what? Average is okay. Yeah. Because average is what creates solid foundations while we're trialing, practicing and failing. Most children can't get to the top straight away. There are very few children who can just zoom straight to the top. And we have to give our children a lot of encouragement and support while they are in that average situation. It's okay.
Yeah, so it's okay to be average. I like that, because from there you can branch out and you become absolutely amazing and incredible. Now, what about some children maybe in occupational therapy for learning difficulties? I mean, when we talk about repetition, I mean, how can it help those children as well with just excelling as well?
So, a child who forms a normal engram or memory cell in the brain when they're in the classroom, say, learning to read, write, do those fine motor coordination activities, they generally have to do a movement about 200 to 300 times to wire the brain to remember how to do that movement. When a child's in therapy, the brain is short-circuiting the proper way of doing things because of a certain weakness. So the child then has to go to a therapist who has to rewire and repattern the brain to do it the right way. And in therapy, a child has to do 2,000 to 3,000 repetitions of a movement to rewire and repattern the brain. And that's why our therapists are so creative, because they've got to find fun ways to get the child to do that many thousands of reps without them getting bored.
Sure, that's very, very interesting. So any final words of advice for parents out there just to really facilitate and support our children when it comes to just being the best that they can be?
Make things fun, have patience, and understand that our children need to be built like a triangle with wide and deep foundations, so that their life is not built on a couple of good outcomes and great successes which would make them wobbly. They need to know how to do the repetition and the work to keep them at the top of that triangle.
Sure, that's the most valuable advice that I've heard so far this year. Thank you very much. Nikki Bush joining us in studio, talking about the importance of repetition when it comes to your kids.